Good morning, good morning, good morning, my beloved Husker fans. Congratulations to us and our bowl eligible Nebraska Cornhuskers. Oh man, so many questions, so many things that we all want to have answers to much earlier in the year than we have now, but we did get them. So hey, it is what it is. I think outside of some mental breakdowns on defense, this was the Nebraska team. This is for sure the Nebraska offense that we thought we would get this year. Unfortunately, that wasn't what happened. This is what we did get, though. We got a team that looked quite offensively competent and was able to come out and exercise the demon, that we could exercise the demon in the team in Wisconsin that we haven't had the most success with over our run in the Big Ten. But kudos to the players, kudos to the coaches, and I know that one will raise a shitstorm. Kudos to us as fans for weathering the storm, like high five and thank and just celebrate by yourselves because we've deserved it. It's been a shit show, man, but they got through it. They got through it and they figured it out. And from the jump, from the opening kick, Nebraska guys were locked in. Looked as though everything was ready to go. So I can't tell you how happy I am for the team, for the players, for you guys to get the chance now. And I know this is going to sound amazing. I can't believe it's something we have to talk about, but for the first time in 8 years, Nebraska is bowl eligible. They get to go to participate in a bowl. Man, they put up a stat in that game over this drought for Nebraska. Wisconsin, who has been bowl eligible, has had the chance to have 105 more practices than Nebraska. Like that would be 7 seasons. But that is unbelievable. Like 105 additional practices to where they were working on things, you were not working on things. You were getting ready to lift weights, they were still honing their craft. And that adds up over quite a bit of time. Comments are open. I'm sure you've got a bunch that wants to be said. I'll try to decipher as best I can on the way things go, but sometimes that doesn't work or appease anybody either. So we will dive into all those things. There is a little. I did think, the way Nebraska played, I thought when they got out to the fast start, it just looked smooth. Like I've talked for quite a bit of this season about just what a rhythmic offense, a rhythmic play caller looks like. It was smooth, that first set, and I always am just of the mindset that the plays out of the gate are scripted. That set of scripted plays looked impressive. Like they were concise. They knew you had the vision. They had been practiced quite a bit. You knew what was going on. Like things were just kind of in step, in sync, and it looked really good. Like it looked as it should. And so to have Nebraska be able to do that was an impressive thing. So kudos to the staff that now, is at Nebraska. I'm hoping that we, out of this 2-game sample size, I hope we continue to evaluate how things go. We got a game against Iowa on Friday. It's a night game. It'll be awesome. But there shouldn't be much doubt in our minds that you can go out and you can get on a little mini heater. You can win your last 3 games, being this game we just won, the bowl, or the Iowa game and the bowl game. Like that's realistic. Are there things that need to be cleaned up? Oh shit. Whoops. Are there things that need to be cleaned up and fixed? Yeah, of course. But everybody's got that. Everybody's got things that they can fix through the year and they can continue to get better at. So it will be interesting to see how Nebraska, on this short week, riding a high of momentum, which is something that they're going to have to deal with as well. The 24-hour rule is a great rule. Excuse me, Jesus. You get to celebrate this for 24 hours. And then you you have to get back to work. Like even on the shorter time frame, you might have only get 12 hours to celebrate this one. Then we got to be ready to roll. So there's a, I don't understand that comment, but um, things that the highlights of the game for me, play calling, of course, is number one. Number two would be the way that the offensive line played. I don't think defensively, Wisconsin has the best defensive line in the conference, but they're always a thorn in our side. They always seem to give us problems. I know Fickle's a new coach there, but it always seems to be an issue. I thought the offensive line handled it well, and then 21 Emmett Johnson being your running back. That's what it should be. Like that should be your guy. I love the use though of Dowdell when they got down by the goal line. The use of Harburg down by the goal line. So just creativity, right? Confidence in what you got. A little evaluation of talent. Hey, we can do these things. We're good at this, right? We can make this happen. So let's just use this. This is the focus of our offense. Now there's more tape out on Nebraska, which is fine. When you get good enough at your basic plays and the things that you can do, the confidence just grows, right? And then it goes from there. Like you saw a confident Nebraska offense yesterday. You don't always see that. My kind of question marks for the game. Defense didn't have their best day. Receivers kind of got past coverage. Safety struggled a lot in that game. A lot. The defensive line, I think, maybe is starting to get a little bit worn down, but found some juice later in the game to make sure that the game went in the favor of Nebraska. And then I couldn't really find a third thing that I wasn't that disappointed in. Maybe you guys can help me out in the comments. I did have to get a little bit in and out of it toward the end of the game. But overall, we're wide to glide today. It's just us. We've been through this shit for 6-7 years together. So vent, let it rip. I'm sure there's going to be some crazy sayings in here. I've got one here, and Patrick says Dylan is gone. Did what he came here to do. Odds on favorites: Oregon, Georgia, Bama. Yeah, I think he knows he's still got work to do, and to see him kind of having fun and let some personality loose, letting the ball rip, not necessarily trying to force everything in there, or not necessarily trying to finesse all the passes. And it was good. It was just a good progress game with an OC that was on top of it, had everything lined out the way he wanted it, and it was good to see. It does unfortunately make you think like, man, what could have happened if we would have just done it earlier and this would have happened, blah 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 blah, yada yada yada. But it didn't. So this is where we are, but we are ready to roll. Interesting scenario got brought up to me by a customer last night, and I don't know if this is true. So all of you guys that are much better on the internet than me, a possible location for Nebraska. And again, this could have been wishful thinking by a customer. I didn't have a lot of time to check it, but he said that if through the allegiances somehow, again, I don't know the tie-ins. I don't have time or space in my brain to figure that out. But the bowl in Vegas could circumvent some, and when they want to go get a team, they kind of can break some of the ties. Don't know if that's true. That's fucking awesome. If you guys got to go to Vegas and just get after it, you would see some partying going on. They would see some things there that they had not seen in quite a while, and everybody sees a bunch of stuff in Vegas. So I hope that's true. I really, really do. I hope that is a real thing, because that would be awesome. We're going to rip through the comments here. I will tell you 100% right around 9 o'clock, we're going to finish up, because I somehow have had a box that provides electricity to one of my point of sale systems over at Paisans decide that it does not want to work. Doesn't seem like a major deal, except it is the main register at the bar. So I have to go over and be junior electrician here in a little while and try to figure that out before we open at 11. So hey, it is what it is. Never a dull moment in small business ownership. But to the comments, Ken, I'm very happy for you that yesterday was orgasmic. WB3 says eat shit Wisconsin. Can't argue with that one. Johnny also says, seems like hiring a guy that you already took a play calling duties away from at a previous job as your OC was the best idea. Now that guy can't even get his best player on the field. Also, F. Satterfield and rule for hiring him. Hiring guys is much like I had one. I just went through this on a much smaller scale. Of course, hired a kid, came in, said, "Oh yeah, I work hard and I do this and I do that and I blah blah blah." Blah. I'm like, "Hey man, I'll take you at your word." But here's the thing with your word: you go back there, you start working. If I come back there where you're working and you ain't working, we're gonna have a problem. In the back room, and the little homie was twerking to his buddy on a phone call. So the little buddy doesn't work here no more. Now, is that a multi-million-dollar football organization that needs somebody that is much more sane than I am running it? Yes. A good buddy of mine, you guys hear him on the radio quite a bit. He had said when the rule hire was made, he said the only thing that he didn't feel real confident about was the hire of Satterfield because it just wasn't what it was. He gave him a shot, man. He gave him a shot and it didn't work. I'm not wasting air or brain space on it. Johnny K, 2 games in, is said, like I said during the game, paid the man his money, meaning give Dana Walter is in agreement with that. Give Hoagie a blank check. Matt has a good question here. Why so different yesterday? Try to speak about it quite a bit, but when you believe in everything that you're doing on the field, like when you believe that, hey, this is right, we're doing things correctly, we're preparing. Kids are more advanced probably now. They're not necessarily as advanced in the knowledge of the game, but they're advanced in schemes of the game, like why they can beat cover 2 or cover 3, but they don't know how or why. They just know, hey, I've probably seen this play and this is why it works. This is what will happen. This is how it goes down. This is why this will be successful. Kids are also not stupid. They probably knew they had a better chance if you get Emmett in the game more frequently, because if something does break down the line, which it had happened during the year, then they can help you. Whoops. Then they can make a defender in the backfield, which you never want. They can make them miss and they can get yards. The play design for later in the game with Johnson, they had 2 receivers. I'm just going to say to the bottom of the screen. They had 1 receiver to the top. The 2 on the bottom were going to run crossing routes. The one on the top is going to run a crossing route. It's called a mesh. So everybody's just going to try to pick off a defender. Well, in that mesh, again, as I've spoken with about Nebraska's defense, you have to trust everybody. If you're the safety, you have to trust everybody in front of you because you still have a back out of the backfield responsibility. They had been watching that kid and they saw him cheating and they saw him moving in and they saw him doing all those things. So they slid Emmett out of the backfield and it was brilliant play design. Like it was very good. Those kind of play calls and those kind of situations are huge because there wasn't anybody covering him for the first 15 yards of the play. You as a play designer, when you can get that to happen, you feel really good. Like, oh man, I'm in my bag today. I've got this thing on lockdown. I can now manipulate the safeties. I can manipulate the linebackers. I can get this thing to go how I wanted. But all of that predicates off Nebraska being able to establish some form of run. And they did that. They were able to get that accomplished. And it was great to see. It was fantastic to see. The part that was also great is they used Barney, the little quick, fast guy. But now for me, there's still more room to grow. Like there's still more room for Nebraska. Like you saw Borger, a couple catches. I mean, he had a great game. Blocked well when he was in. And then now you hopefully get to see the evolution of Carter Nelson where you can incorporate him into these last couple games. Because I think the sky is the limit for him, but probably time to make sure that he knows that he's a big focus of what they want to do going in an ongoing manner. Not saying you got to bow down to anybody, but time to start to use him, like time to get him the rock. So If he did get it in the game and I missed it, I apologize. But that's something that they definitely need to make happen. Brian says Holgerson provided OC experience and could say the things that maybe other schools could not. A new set of eyes from an OC who challenged their pride a little bit. I thought wide receiver blocking was better, and the running backs hit holes hard today. They accepted his challenge. Just my thoughts. It is true. I've been coached hard my whole life. I live that way. I don't care if people get after me if they're right. And if you're a man and you look at the way Nebraska was playing, it's hard to argue if you were one of the guys being called to the carpet. Like, hey, you're not doing it. You're doing the get by. You're not doing the above and beyond. That's the difference of it. And coming in from the outside, it's easy to get in touch with that piece of you as a coach that says, listen, if you don't like what I'm telling you, I don't care, because this is right. This is the way it should go. I've coached this game longer than you've been alive. I've coached players that are your level. They took that, they got better, and they moved on. Like, let's evaluate this. Like, let's compare resumes. And so having a little bit of a name behind that where the kids can kind of, I'm sure not many of them knew of him. Maybe they did. There was probably some Googling going on. And one thing that is usually never faltered with the Dana Holgerson squad is the offense. Like, he knows how to put up points. He knows how to put up points. He just does. So it was fun to see. One of my observations, the fourth down where Wisconsin was around midfield, you saw in that game, and I don't know how many more plays you can go into that game and say everybody did their job there. Now, if you get the chance, go back and rewatch it, okay? Here's what I want you to watch. As the play develops, and I think the scout on it was good. I think Nebraska had a really good estimation of what Wisconsin wanted to do there. I'm going to paint you a little air picture here. So Wisconsin is lined up. Leinart is the right, what I would call defensive end. I don't know what they call him at Nebraska. This is just the position of the area he was standing in. Okay. He has got a block that goes down, right? So it's going away from him. So he sacrifices himself. He's hands-on. He's jamming that guy so he can't get to the second level. He's committed and sold out for the good of the scheme. Next, okay, then you see the fits. So the first fit, I believe, is Bullock. Bullock fits right off of number 10. There's no space between the end of number 10 and the beginning of number 5. It could have been Gifford, but it's hard for me to think it was Gifford because I was just excited the way it happened. But anyway, he fits. Whichever one of those two didn't fit there, then the next one fit right off that. There's no space in between the human being. Turn the corner. It was Gifford. Gifford fit off of it very nicely. Bullock comes around, and Gifford almost makes the tackle. He really does, but he missed. And then Bullock comes around and makes the play. So there's the reason I try to explain that to you via air is that there's no gap in it. There's nobody that went a yard too wide. There's nobody that didn't do their responsibility. There's nobody that didn't play selfishly to try to make their play. They made a Nebraska play. They made a team play. That was good to see. Because in that instance, when you're going at it, we've seen it in the past where that fourth down gets converted fairly easily because nobody wants to do the exact millimeter spot where they want to be, right? They want him right there. You have to be right there. There can't be any space between you and the next guy. The reason I bring it up is because when you do it right, this defense it's fun to watch. And it's really only in year 2, when you're starting to see an influx of some players that they've recruited, but it's a lot of the same guys that have been there for prior regimes where there was no discipline in it. So to watch that work, I thought in that instance, in that situation, it showed me you can do this. You can bear down and you can make all of this correct. Okay. Leads me then to say, hey, you can't be just correct on 4th and 2 at a big point in the game. You got to be correct all the time. You got to be selfless all the time. You got to make sure that you do all those things. So it's a good one to go watch if you get the chance to look through all of the YouTube stuff. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Somebody's probably broken it down, but it was really well done. It was and needed. It had to be done at that time. There's been a big distance from Johnny. Johnny was fired up last night. I didn't respond to John when he texted me. I just like, yeah, have at her, bud. I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna do. Although I do think John and Walter probably need to get together, go have a coffee. They seem to have a like mindset on a lot of things. Probably be a good film, good content. There's a big disconnect between White and Butler this year. White did not coach himself into a head coaching job. Does Butler come back? There's going to be turnover. There's going to be. I know this won't be popular, but I'm fine with whomever they put in there. If you feel the relationship doesn't work out, then let him go. Let him venture on. You got to get out of the mindset of we have to keep everybody and get in the mindset of we have to develop both coaches and players around our organization to have the next man up mentality. That can be in coaching too. It really can. Larry, I agree with you. Just fucking happy. 100%, bud. 100%. It's just good to feel good. I'll be 100% square with you. Like, if we went through a game like we've had the past few where it was going and it didn't look good and it was out, this was going to be a wrap for this show. This show is going to be done because I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired and talking about the same shit and doing the same stuff and all that. It was going to be a wrap. Wasn't even going to do an Iowa game. Wasn't going to do nothing. I was over it. It was going to be done. I will be honest with you. But thankfully, Nebraska came out and played good, and it just gave me juice. It reinvigorated me to realize my love and passion for Nebraska, and hopefully that they can get their shit together. And this is what we expect. An unseen benefit of Holgerson and kind of his swagger and the way it goes. And a buddy of mine brought this up to me. I said, what do you think is missing from these guys? What do you think is the difference here? And he said, honestly, he said, Coop. And I'm like, okay, explain. And he said, Coop, who is the former defensive back coach, he said, he just talked crazy to everybody. Receivers would get in the game. Said, we don't have to cover you. You can't run routes. You can't catch the ball. Why do we need you in here? Like, hey, guys, just roll off of that. We'll cover the rest of them because he can't catch. That talking noise in practice matters. When you get a guy that's kind of swaggy like Holgerson, who has no problem. I will guarantee you there have been verbal altercations with coaches on staff once Holgerson came in and started to probably carve them in practice. But it gets a juice, it gets an energy, it gets everybody lively, it keeps everybody involved in everything. It matters. It does. They have a mini bit of swagger to them so far. But it's good. The kids need that. They need to tell their brain, hey, if we execute this, it will work. They were trying to execute what was being called before, it wasn't working. I don't blame them I blame them for not still attempting to execute 100%, but I understand why you wouldn't. Why am I going to continue to bang my head against this wall over and over again? It ain't working. Credit to Coach Rule. That's a difficult decision to bring somebody in mid-season on an off week and take play calling duties, take run game coordinator responsibilities, take pass game coordinator responsibilities away from somebody. Say, listen, they brought me in here for a reason. I am a hired man, and I am here, and I am in control of all of it. I will tell you how it will look. I will tell you how it will go. We will work together. I'm not going to be a dictator in this, but I'm going to be the guy. That way, if it goes down, it goes down. No sweat off your back. I'm actually doing you a favor. You should want me to have all the responsibility. That way you don't have to worry about anything. But again, that was It was a good day. It was a good day to have a good day. Harry Husker says old lady was out after last week's performance, but now she's back in. The old lady and I are one and the same because I was about done with it too. I do agree with Mike. Bowl committees will fight to get Nebraska. If somebody can help me with the tie-in stuff, I don't know what bowls. We ain't been to a bowl in so goddamn long. I don't know what ties into what with the Big Ten because I haven't concerned myself with it because at this point in the time of the year, I'm just like, well, this is over. We got to watch one more game and then it's just off season. Where we will go undefeated in the off season, as we always do, king of the off season. But yeah, tell you one I'd love to go to though, Las Vegas. And my guy Thomas right here says that could be true. Thomas says Vegas Bowl is traditionally Pac-12 and the Big Ten. Now I believe it is an at-large bowl. My man, I think as a fan base, they should give us input in for all the shit they put us through. Start the petition now. If Vegas even calls, we're in. Let's go. Because Vegas would be in for one. Vegas would not be ready for that. Vegas would not. I'll tell you what, a couple things that happen. Some people may lose their farms because they're just going to go to the table and be like, hey, I got a couple thousand acres back home. Why don't you give me a marker? Because I'm gonna win it all here. Or the most alcohol consumed in a time span in Vegas, that record may go down. I'm just telling you, that record might be eliminated. Vegas, if you're listening, get some Busch Light because you're going to need it. I'm just telling you. Smart ass Matt says the register prize dough stuck in it. The guys looked like they trusted each other more yesterday. And we've discussed this season. Yeah, they did. They offensively for sure. Super happy for the offensive line. They've played games that looked decent one week, and then the next week it didn't look like any semblance of what it was the week before. It's back-to-back weeks, like, right? I was super proud of the way they played at USC. There was time to throw the ball. They did what they were supposed to do. This didn't. The rest of the team was a little bit behind it and not able to separate from receivers, not able to make moves to make guys miss. So to have them come out again and play against Wisconsin, play good, you see their confidence grow. Right now, Iowa's a different animal, and that's fine. Again, you're not playing an opponent. You're going out and you're trying to be the best version of yourself. What's the best version of Nebraska offensive line look like? That's our goal. Okay, what's our opponent going to do? They're going to play this, this, and this. I'm never going to mention a player. I'm going to say, hey, there's a point of emphasis at the defensive tackle spot. There's a point of emphasis where we need to get this linebacker. I probably wouldn't even mention names. But then I would say, if we do X, Y, and Z, if we work this hard this short week, we will be just fine because we're in that pursuit of the best version of ourselves. I've mentioned on here many times. T.O. was just looking for perfection. He was looking for the perfect practice. He was looking then, if you string perfect practice together, then it leads to the perfect game. Never going to accomplish it, but if that's your goal every day and you get closer to that goal every day, then the game becomes simple. The game becomes easy because you get in a mindset of, I don't care who you put over there. You can put whomever you want over there. And we're going to win it because we're looking to be the most perfect version of ourselves. For those who go back in the Wayback Machine, Kenny Maitland. Like, Kenny Maitland was an amazing offensive lineman. Kenny Maitland was 5'10", had to fight to be 260. But in a game against Kansas, he went against Dana Stubblefield. Dana Stubblefield was, I believe, an All-American that year. Played in the league for a long time. Kenny Maitland won the game because he was more technically sound. He was doing his part to be the best version of Nebraska that day. It was good. Like, he was a good player. But when your goal is to be the best you can be, and everybody around you wants to be the best they can be, and now we're getting to be the best version of ourselves, the opponent becomes irrelevant. It's fine. And you don't have to be a 4-star or 5-star. You can be a goddamn hardworking 2-star. And you may not win every battle that day. But if you win more than you lose, you've done your part to help. You've done your part to make the machine run. Verse, if you start feeling tingly when touching the electrical box, you are doing it wrong. Thank you, Johnny. I have over 27 years. I have mastered that one. That is a couple of times I thought I ended it, but I did not, thankfully. Then we called the professionals. Mike says, I had a battalion commander. Thank you for your service. That said, don't try to drink all the alcohol in town. It can't be done. Challenge accepted was the response. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited, man. I was just getting text through the game, and everybody was stoked, and after the game, and we had people. Okay. All right, folks. We live in Omaha. Omaha is 45-ish minutes away from Lincoln. If you drive at a decent rate, maybe some of you make it faster. That's fine. Some of you got to make better decisions driving to and fro. Okay. Great part about the 2:30 game is that I get to watch quite a bit of it. It's not a busy time of day, so I can sit and take it in. Where the 2:30 kick game gets interesting for your boy is that post game slurred speech. Can I get a pizza? Call. I'm like, hey, how did you get here? Like, I drove. Like, if you want to leave your car here, please leave your car. Let's get an Uber. You and the Uber guy can take your pizza back to your house because we've tempted fate long enough. You young high school kids out there that are entrepreneurs, we've got an amazing business model for you. You just drive the car. You drive the car down. You sit at the tailgate. Let's not shit ourselves. You're going to be on your phone anyway. So you just sit in the customer's car the whole game. You're on your phone. You shoot your TikToks, shoot your Instas, whatever. Then you drive those people home. Because there's a couple last night. I was like, hey, bud, let's leave it here. Nobody took me up on the offer, but I felt my conscience was clean. Tracy says, nice to see the field goal kicker hitting. Hull's done a nice job. I believe he's made his last 7. You see when he takes the field, got the utmost confidence in himself. Got the utmost confidence when he walks out there, gets his steps, head down, full focus. It's great to see. It's a mentally resilient, tough kid because it was going bad. It was not going well at all, catching all kinds of hell. People were pissed and all that kind of stuff, but just insulate. Those people don't pay your bills and they ain't going to carry you down your final aisle. You don't have to care what they think. So it's good to see the young man do that, and the protection has been good. A couple that were a little close, but it's all right. Got him up and got him gone. So yeah, Tracy, I'm 100% with you. And see confidence grow in a kid. They think they can beat the world. I would love it to wrap up the regular season if he kicked the game winner in Iowa City next Friday, 6 p.m. If you want to order pizza for that, if you're not going down there, call early. We'll start taking orders Friday for that. So get in there, make my life a little bit easier, selfishly. John says 30 players walked in senior day. There shouldn't have been that many to be there to walk. That's your opinion. There were. Do you want to take them away and tell them they can't go? 30 of them walked. They wrote it out. They went through it all. In my mind, like now you got 30 opportunities to go out and get better. Because those guys, not all of them are on scholarship, but you got guys to be able to place into the mix now. So again, some of the seniors, I'm sure it would have been a different discussion if they had the same discussion now that they did before the season. But they were trying to do what's right. They did it. It's their job. They made the call. Nothing I can't do. Patrick says, can we beat Iowa if McNamara is out? They're using their third string linebacker QB, Oklahoma in the bowl. Ooh, that would be fun. That would be on both sides of that. You would get some stuff done. Can we beat Iowa? Yes, we can. Are there some things that are going to have to get corrected very quickly in this short week? Yes. Offensively, I think we can create some problems for Nebraska. Now, for us to create problems for Iowa, we are going to have to be very crisp with the offense. Like, it's going to have to look as efficient as possible. We're going to have to overcome some early adversity. I think there may be some struggle right out of the gate, just by a step up in the defensive line you're going to play, and a defensive line that's going to be hard to get out of position. But historically, Nebraska hasn't done too bad when they go down to Iowa City. So get the guys revved up, get the belief in what you're doing, and then realize, hey, this is what they're going to do. They're very rarely going to be out of position. So we have to make sure technique is tight. All those little things, hand placement is tight. This is offensive line talk. If we do those things, yes, we can do this because we have a back now that can make a guy miss when we get down. I would say the next wrinkle in the Harburg thing is you're going to see a Tim Tebow jump pass. Just telling you. Because when he goes in, everybody and their dog knows that sucker ain't getting in the air. I mean, that ain't getting in the air. On the touchdown that he had, probably unsung hero of that is Bonner. Bonner motions down a little bit tighter in the box. I think he's just outside of the tighter. If they had a wing there, I can't quite remember. But goes in, does a good job. If you watch that one, watch how wide he keeps his base. He goes out, he gets locked up, his base, he's outside of his shoulders with the weight on the inside of his feet, and he's based up. That guy has no chance. But Bonner's block allows that to be the first contact as the next guy. It's not his guy. Good job, too, by the interior offensive line. It's down block. And then you got Bonner coming in to wedge it, little kick out, and Harburg's up underneath it, and it's a tough runner. But, yeah, I would see jump passes coming. Just telling you. Walter says forecast for Friday night in Iowa City is 19 degrees and 13 mile-per-hour winds. Sounds awesome. Sounds fantastic. For Nebraska to beat Iowa, the next thing that they will have to be very cognizant of is making sure that number 2 does not break. I'm struggling this morning. The number 2 does not break. Number 2 doesn't have an explosive play. I'm going to rephrase that. That he doesn't have an explosive play that ends in a touchdown. He's going to bust one for 20 yards. Just telling 25 plus yards. Just telling you, he's good. He's fun to watch. He reminds you of like some old school backs that I had the awesome opportunity to play with because he's just that good. They do a nice job in their zone schemes, which they've done for eternity. They always do. So he's going to have an explosive play. It's just if you can corral that where that explosive play is in a touchdown, I think that's a big thing to the game. If you want to pack the box, I'm fine with that. If you want to put 7, 8, 9 in there and play great defense behind it and make them throw, they are on their third quarterback. In that, the guys that remain in coverage, or if they have 3 receivers, then the 3 stay in coverage. But you got to make sure that you know where the tight end is. Like, you can't let the tight end be the one. You can't let the tight end be the guy that does harm to you. But again, if you go out and you play to the best version of Nebraska, which I still think has more weapons that they can start to use in the game. If you go out and you be the best version of Nebraska, I think the best version of Nebraska beats the best version of Iowa. But as we've seen at times, Iowa offensive coordinators, regardless of who they are, they want to show us that they're just not a running team. Perfectly fine with that. I would love you to take 4 quarters to prove to me that you're just not a running team. That would be awesome. By all means, do it. Because your third-team quarterback is third-team quarterback for a reason. Number 2, very good. So if you don't want to give him the ball, I will sign up for that. I will unselfishly sign up for that. 100%. But if Nebraska goes out and they play the best version, the main points of focus that I would really be tuning in this short week of practice, directional kick. I don't know if Bushini did it on purpose, but he kind of coughed and cornered one down there to the northeast side of the end zone. Roll out of bounds. I'm good with that because Iowa special teams are good. Everybody in the comments likes to bitch about Foley. That's fine. This is why we have the open forum. You can do whatever you got. Oh, the beautiful Julie Gaffa listening. Cardi just gave me an asterisk, not Busch Light, it's Coors Light. So if you aren't Carney, you know Gappa, the Gappa family. Hi, Jules. Coors Light drinkers. Coors Light distributorship owners. But if you can do that, you keep the ball away, cool. Because now you can't make a big play in that phase, but I'm good with that. Kickoffs, land it in the end zone. Or have a plan with a 13-mile-an-hour wind if you think that's going to bug you. Have a plan where it isn't fielded, it gets tumbled, it gets ugly, whatever. There's no machismo in it. You're trying to win a game. So if you do, we kick the ball, we cover, great, awesome. I want to win. So I'm trying to find things that are going to help us, give us the best opportunity to win every play. Okay, defensively, the fits on the run, okay, your gap that you're responsible for has to be tight and right. Like you can't, if you're supposed to where the defensive lineman ends and where the gap begins, you have to be right off of that. You have to fit right off his ass. You can't be a half yard away. You can't be a quarter yard away. If you're supposed to be there, you have to be there. You cannot freelance. Secondary, your angles have to be better. Okay. If you are hurt and your shoulder does not work and you cannot wrap people up, then I'm sorry, but you got to get out the game. You got another game left. It's going to be a game you can play at the end of the season, the bowl game. If you can't wrap up, if you can only just try to knock out, it doesn't work. You can't do it. So the secondary angles have to fit. The linebacker angles have to fit. And the third thing I would say is just the defensive line. You cannot get washed, okay? They are going to double quite a bit. I don't see them trying to single block a whole bunch. And I don't think Nash, unfortunately, is 100%. I think there's been some things I've watched him play. I hope I'm wrong, but I think he might be dinged up a little bit. But when you get in, if it's 10, if it's 18, if it's 9, if it's 0, if it's 16, whomever is in, okay? When you start to feel yourself get washed out of the gap you're supposed to control, there's nothing wrong if you hit the ground. And you do it until the umpire calls defensive holding on you. You take a couple bodies with you, then a couple of your bodies behind you, you're still free. I get it. It's people say, oh, you're chicken shit, you doing that, da 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 da. I want to win. So if I have to do this to win, if the two of you are defeating the one of me, and my job is to protect the guy behind me, guess what I'm going to do? Everything humanly possible to protect him. Swallow my pride, get my ass on the ground, make a pile. Now what's your running back want to do? Because the more I can get him to go to my next defender, which may be the out of bounds marker, the better I feel about how it's going to go. Okay. So those are the things defensively. Offensively, you're going to be playing a different animal. So you've got to establish some form of run game. If you want to do the Lindenbaum, come across the formation, kick out the defensive end, run underneath it. Some people call it power. There's tons of different names for things. Whatever you want to call it, you call it that. Okay? You got to establish some form of run. And you're going to have to probe early and find it. Using the weapons that you have correctly. Okay? Iowa will play good coverage. I don't think it's the best coverage that they've had in previous years. When you had one of the exciting whites back there. But you have to start to win some individual battles, okay? If it's releases off the line of scrimmage, if it's pick routes, if it's mesh concepts, but you have to start to win. Can Dylan Raiola throw it into coverage in a tight window? Yeah, he can. But what if you do so well in your route that you're open? Like a yard, and I'm not saying you're running 5 yards by yourself, but I'm saying you got a yard, 2 yard space in between the guy. Now that ball gets you in stride, and now you can go be a playmaker. Okay. Now you can go do things. The last thing I work on is ball is king. Right. No fumbles, which we haven't done. No interceptions. The longer you can keep it, and the more you can get Iowa to wonder, oh shit, these guys are different now. This is what they should be. Do that. Right? So you're a receiver. You make a catch. You're starting to run downfield. If you don't think all of them but 2 of the defensive linemen are chasing you and going to come tomahawk chop the ball from behind you, you are thinking wrong. Okay? So you have about 4 seconds. Make your moves. If you're not in the wide open space, you double wrap. You get the ball fully secure because they're coming. They will pursue and they will get to you. Just telling you. You don't want it poked out. I'm telling you, the little cheap suckers on that team. You saw yesterday in the Ohio State game, I think it was the Ohio State safety, came up, and it's legal. Peanut punched that thing right out of the Indiana guy's hand, and it's a full punch. So even at the point of contact, when you're going down, double wrap that thing. Take football back to when you were a little guy, and they told you, protect the ball, protect the ball, protect the ball. And the brain power on them and how quick kids can think in those situations, it's awesome. But you know when you're about to get hit, just get both arms on the ball. Tense your neck, tense your body, hit the ground, get up, give it to the ref, get another play. But those are the things kind of in the 3 phases that I would do that I think ensure a victory against Iowa. Back to the comments we go. Jay says, thank you, Holgerson, finding plays of players and execute them. It was nice to see the offense play with confidence along with Raiola. These guys needed this, and hopefully we'll play more free against Iowa. It's hard not to be good when you have 100% belief in what you're doing. It's fact. And it's great when you, in life, I'm sure you guys have done it. If you've ever been in, I relate a lot of stuff to restaurant because that's the industry I'm in, but there's nights when I look at that schedule, I'm like, whoo, I'm going to have no drama, and we are about to get some stuff done today, and let's have a night. And you work hard, and then we can kind of laugh and have fun and be happy. But when you're confident in the people around you, it's easier to play. I'm not a huge celebration guy, but I thought it was great to see the guys celebrating after big plays and doing things, and appropriately, right? You're not, if you were down 24 and you make a big catch and you get up and make a big to-do about it, it's like, dog, you're down 24 points. Like, what do you celebrate? But smiles and laughing and happy, right? Because it's everything you've worked on the week of, it worked in the game. It's a great feeling. When your hard work results in the results you're looking for, now the belief is there. And you want to be there and you want to do it. Matt says, between foosball and volleyball, Nebraska play whack-a-badger all afternoon into the night. How fun was that? Listen, man, quick sidebar on them ladies at Nebraska volleyball. You're not dogs. You are not dogs. You are wolves. Like, they go out. Wolves kill dogs. Wolves, they go out and they destroy. I mean, they are so fun to watch. I don't know how many of you watch volleyball. I'm guessing a lot because they're really damn good. But geez, Pete. And now, they got a little swag to them. And Addie J gave a little stare down. By the way, too, where does Wisconsin find a 6'9" gal every year? Like, how does this happen? And I'll get off of volleyball. That's fine. But kudos to JC and the crew. And them girls are just a bunch of wolves, man. They just go out and hunt. And it's fun to watch. I do. For anybody, if anybody's in there listening that's played volleyball, you guys talk shit like under the net. Like, are you talking to that girl? Bitch, you can't hit that. Do you say stuff like that? I mean, that's part of the foundation of football, is just running your mouth. But I didn't know. If there's any volleyball players listening to me, let me know. Mike says Sammy Hagar has a nice betting story with Toby Keith. I don't know what that one is. Sean says, after the last 2 weeks, Rule may have found himself an OC to help him get things done. Do you feel Dan H will stay with the team for 2025? If so, do you think that Rule will give DH the freedom to bring in a couple of different position coaches? I do. There's an interesting shift in football right now. Okay. Universities are kind of having to show. Now, there's other things they're going to have to juggle, this 105 thing that I have to do research on, or have somebody smart tell me. I'm a much better listener than I am read and comprehend guy. I would rather have somebody tell me about it than me sit down and read it and then reread it and then reread it and then reread it and then reread it and all that stuff. Okay. But there's coaches now that are like, why would I want to go? I want to coach. I want to take these young men, show them this, and help them get better at the game of football. I want to help them become better football players, teach them the game so then they can pass on the game. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. I don't want to deal with NIL companies. I don't want to deal with panhandling to boosters that we need you to give more money to the NIL company so we can give the money to the player and then they stay happy. Guess who's happy when they're there? Guys that win. Winning will knock down some of the NIL budget. Just telling you. If you can come out and you consistently win, the prices you got to offer aren't nearly as high. Like, hey, this is what we can do. This is what we feel you can do. This is where we feel we can help you and grow your game. And in the comments, I'm sure will be like, oh, Michigan just paid 4 years, $10.5 million. Neat. If you don't think that's going to raise questions from other guys on the team, crazy. You're going to get the guy he's throwing the ball to. So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. The homie's getting 10 mil, allegedly, over 4 years. You're paying me 20 grand. Coach, I would like to renegotiate this because if I'm not out there beating my guy's ass, who's he throw it to? Because the next guy doesn't get open like I get open, coach. You might want to bump this number up a little bit, big dog. Like, and some guys don't want to deal with that as a head coach. I wouldn't. Chip Kelly left a head coaching job to go be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. What's to say Dana Holgorsen isn't like, man, I like it here. And now you get a different set of eyes evaluating talent. Says, listen, I don't need to go get a 7-star guy. I found this 3.5, 4-star dude in Omaha, in Grand Island that nobody's talking to. Why do you think this? He plays in Grand Island, Nebraska. Who comes out of Grand Island, Nebraska? There's not going to be, what are you talking? Well, he's 6'4". He's got a 36-inch vertical jump. He runs a 4.4. He runs decent routes, but I feel if we get in here and we coach him up, he's going to run great routes because his pro agility is this. His 3-cone drill is this. Not saying it's got to be a Nebraska kid. I'm just using it to keep it local. Get off my ass. But now you have him in there, another guy that's got some head coaching deal. So if Rule's got to go handle some bullshit, then Holgorsen will be like, no worries. We got this practice. You get it, coach. Go get the money. You come back. You're still the dog. Okay. So now you can do these things. So I would say Nebraska should come at him and Coach White, which John said in the comments, White's not doing anything else to help or doing anything to help him get a head coaching job. John, I'd like you to say something nice. I'm kind of over the negativity about everything. And yeah, I'm pissed. But if you can get that going, where now you got 2 head coaches kind of operating it, and the one knows he's not the head coach. He knows the other guy's the head coach. And they have to figure out that balance with themselves, because if you're not good with that balance, then it's not good. If you can pull that off, and he's kind of on the back end of his career. So yeah, why wouldn't I come here? They just want to win. They're going to get me money to win. They're going to pay me well. I can go talk to these guys and get money to go get players that I need. It's a great setup. They love me here. I've coached 2 games. They're already wanting me to get paid. And they're already seeing they're going to let me bring in other guys. 2 games. Right? That's how hard or desperate we are to be successful. So, yeah, I think they can keep him. I do. For how long after 25, I don't know. I don't know Dan Holgorsen. I would love to meet Dan Holgorsen because I think he's a very interesting guy. But just to talk to him, see what he says. Hey, man, this is all right here. Great facilities, great support. Kids seem to be good. They just need a little kick in the ass. I can see myself fitting here. It's pretty cool. You never know. But I'm willing to find out. And then he can see his vision of them in his offense. It isn't a deal of why did you go get him? Well, because he's fast. Okay. What else does he do? I don't know if you heard me. He's very fast. Okay. Can he run routes? Yeah, we'll work on that. Okay. You just gave me the example. We're going to work with the kid from Grand Island routes. How do you see this guy working in your routes? He's fast. Okay. Can he change direction and be fast? He slows down a little bit when he changes directions. Okay. Okay. See, an experienced guy will always be good. A crotchety, grouchy guy on staff everywhere, always awesome. Always for eternity will always be awesome. Because you keep everybody just on edge a little bit. And if you screw up, you're gonna get called out on it. John says, I know we were talking about, we gave football a shout out. Major purge on the rush coming up to get to the 105 scholarships. I got to do some research on that too, because I think I have a loophole in that where Nebraska can kind of continue on. Tim says, I was wondering this too. Does the OC get to pick his position coaches? I would say, yeah. Now, within reason, I think he's going to look at some of the guys and say, hey, you can kind of continue on. This is how I'd like you to do it. If you don't do it this way next year, then I'm going to get rid of you. Here's the guy that's going to replace you. Because I can call him tomorrow and he'll be here the next day. So this is how we want it done. This is what we need to do. Please do that. But yeah, I think you're going to see some coaches move on in the offseason. And that's fair. You do it. It all depends how the negotiation with Holgerson goes. David, agree 100% with you, but not going to say that. Ooh. For those of you that are out about tomorrow, Gary Sharp. They do. Matt confirmed volleyballers talking that smack underneath the net. Love it. Love it. Gary Sharp, the great Gary Sharp, turns 50 tomorrow. So if you see Gary Sharp or message him in the morning, he's old. Like I said, I got to go over and do a little electrical work. So if you see a big power outage, 156 in West Center area, that's me. But I'll be honest, I'm super happy for you guys. I hope whatever bowl you go to, I hope everybody goes. I really do. Because it's been a hell of a 7-year run of nothing. I know there's a ton of things to work on at Nebraska. I know there still is. And I know we want to criticize why didn't it happen sooner? Why'd you bring me over at all? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? The fact of the matter is that they made the changes that they needed to make. Okay. The part that we haven't even discussed on here, though, is it was to say that Holgerson and him coming in and taking a little bit more of the reins of the offense and working with a young coach in McGuire and saying, hey, this is what I need the receivers to do. I'm here for you. I got a quarterback coach over there. I got a running back coach over there. That he goes through each position, because if we were struggling with calling plays, I think there may have been a struggle with the communication of the coach of this is what I want the guys to look like, because I don't know if the former OC knew 100% what he wanted it to be. So now if I'm the OC here, if I'm Dana Holgerson, I can go and I can say, Coach B, this is what I need your running backs to do. Coach McGuire, this is what I need the receivers to do. If you need help, tell me. I'll come over. We'll drill it. I'm not going to undermine you in your position group, but I think you're an up-and-coming good coach, and you just need some guidance. You need some season. You need some salt and pepper. Okay? Don, I think what our guys do great is this, and I've seen you busting their ass on this. So I'm going to call plays that fit this. So if you get them to master this, my play calls will mirror that. How about that, big dog? And I think that will be huge. It's a guy that's done it. He's got a tunnel vision on what he wants it to be. And he knows how he wants his coaches to coach it. I think that's a big deal. I got no problem if Nebraska has 2 of the highest paid coordinators in the country. I don't care. Okay? Because if there's worth in something, you have to pay. You have to pay to play. And then you can kind of adjust from there. You tell those two coordinators, here's our goal for you. We're going to make sure you're compensated and you love staying in Nebraska. And it's not something monetary. If you leave, it's because the job of a lifetime. It's not the job of tomorrow. All right. But in that, here's what we ask of you. That you assess and you find somebody that you feel if you did go, they could be your successor. And you get us into contact with them. And then that way, if you do get the job of a lifetime, then we've got the next you coming in. We can smoothly transition that thing, and we're not having to scrap a whole offensive set or a whole defensive set. And then we can just start to kind of churn this thing over where coaches come in if it happens and coaches come out. But we've got that. So that's what we're willing to do for you in the compensation form, as long as you do this for us on the other side. I think that's a fair deal. I think you got two guys in there that would do that, because I think the two guys in there, the one guy for sure, Coach White, likes it here. He likes it a lot. It's a cool place. I can't wait. Again, we're back into the time game, but I can't wait to where it's season after season, where it just repeats and it goes, and there's no better place to be in the world than Nebraska when Nebraska football is good. And then you partner what volleyball is doing. Now you got two squads that are good. If my nephew starts to hit the baseball, then baseball gets good. I just like to take cheap shots at him because I know my mom listens. But now you watch how it just grows everything. Rifle good, bowling good, all that stuff. But there's nothing better in the world than Nebraska when Nebraska's good at football. I'll tell you. But from an admin standpoint, do the legwork behind the scenes that makes sure that happens. Eliminate the phrase in the athletic department, oh shit, he's leaving. Oh shit, she's leaving. Okay? Make sure that your coaches understand that there's a give and take to it. Yeah, we're going to pay you well. But you make sure we have the next in line. Please. That's all we ask. And coach the hell out of our boys and make them good. I think it's not too much to ask, but I think it's a good thing. I will be on the call tomorrow for the D2 Central Valley Riverside game, the D1 Sandy Creek Stanton game, and the nightcap of Omaha West Side versus Millard South High School. I will have my phone on me, so if you want to text me taunting things, that's fine. I will look at them at breaks, and I will try to respond during the broadcast. Thank you guys, as always, for joining. We will probably do a show after the Iowa game. I'll try to do it on Saturday. I don't know if that will work just with my schedule, but for sure on Sunday morning, we'll do one. And then as we go through it, and we hopefully get to go to the bowl in Las Vegas, and then hopefully get to go to the bowl in Las Vegas, I'll do a wrap-up show after that. But I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Thank you so much for putting up with me and listening and all that stuff. I enjoy this, and it's good to be happy. It's good to be happy. It's just the first step in the new offensive scheme of Nebraska, and I have full faith that Coach White will get those boys playing downhill. All the fits will be tight, and we'll give it to Iowa. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next week.